As Bitcoin briefly touched above $50,000 this week, are we about to see a large amount of profit taking and subsequent dumpage to potentially all the way down here before reversing? As the weekly MACD insanely bullish cross we've been tracking for months sets up for maximum gainage on the horizon, do the bears have the strength to diddle the bulls one final time? And as we talked about yesterday, something very similar happened as we got our other bullish cross just 4 weeks ago. But are you prepared for what this means next? Lock your doors and grab some napkins because we are about to make a mess. I'm your host, Franklin Feetpicks, and my good golly gosh, are we about to see a Bitcoin move down to a very, very key level that we have not retested yet? In fact, we talked about it all last week. But after which, Bitcoin could initiate trouser bursting gainage above 50, 60, potentially even to all-time highs in very short order. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, turn on these absolutely time-sensitive alerts. Make sure to check out my website in the description below if you want to protect your crypto and earn deals. And as well, starting today, we're going to be picking 3 winners of $1,000 in ADA to celebrate the absolute massive gainage we saw over the last few days. Granted, ADA is on a little bit of a downswing at this moment with the rest of the market, but my good golly gosh, this little guy has pumped up my piggy bank a lot over the last year, and wow, absolutely very big. Wow, and here it is, guys, the day we've been waiting for. We've been talking about this for about a week now, but here we're getting the 21-day, getting ready to cross, or it is crossing above the 200-day moving average. And again, we're going to be jumping into this in a second, but we have that, and we have, again, we've been talking about this for about 5 months now, the weekly MACD cross that we've been waiting for. Here it is. We're, more than a week into it. But yeah, I think this spells absolutely insane things for Bitcoin. I'm starting to see articles now of people saying that last time that this crossed back in like October, Bitcoin, they're expecting like a 500% increase just because it happened about a year ago. I don't know if a 500% arbitrary number really means too much, but I do think massive pumpage absolutely is on the way for the rest of this year, and very excited for it. But with that being said, what we're seeing right now is a natural part of that process. And after 5 green weekly candles for Bitcoin, are we now going to set a dumpy red weekly candle? Okay, this week is very new, but are we about to see continued dumpage over the next week, potentially 2 weeks, just revisiting some key levels that we have not revisited? Okay, we talked about this a lot last week. But yeah, if we jump into Bitcoin here, we're getting this cross. Last time we got a very bullish daily cross for Bitcoin. We got a little bit of a dumpage. We actually went from about 42K down to about 37, so about a $5,000 swing. And we talked about this yesterday. 1 being get ready for a pullback, and 2, especially because these crosses are not immediately bullish. Again, like we even just saw the last one. But yeah, I mean, there's so many long-term things shaping up over the next month, even 2-3 months, that it's hard not to be bullish. But again, a target we talked about a lot last week was about 42 to 40K, which we're going to get into that in a second here. But as you can see, we got rejected right about here around the $50,000 level exactly. And I think a lot of people are probably taking profit here. A lot of people have been long on Bitcoin since around 30K. And, a $20,000 swing for Bitcoin and, the equivalent entries to these alts, which many of which have pumped percentage-wise much higher than Bitcoin, it would be silly to think that some people wouldn't want to take some profit here. As, again, if we look at this weekly chart, guys, 5 green weekly candles, it is not out of the realm of possibility to think that some of the bigger holders and some of the people that knew we were not going to 10K and knew that most likely 30K was the bottom, as we talked about for like 3 months as it was happening, those people were not shorting Bitcoin at 30K, they were buying it. And now after 5 green weekly candles to the upside and over $20,000 for Bitcoin to the upside, it is not too silly to think potentially there might be a little bit of profit taking before, obviously, I think we're going a lot higher over the next few months. But now potentially we are seeing this bearish divergence play out on the daily chart. We talked about this last week, and maybe we're just a little too early, but now we're seeing this play out a little bit more. Again, this dump is extremely not big at this moment. So the big question is, will we continue down and potentially get another $6,000 to $8,000 dumpiness, which, believe it or not, there's going to be a lot of people, if a scenario like that would happen, as always, if we revisited like the 40K range, a lot of people screaming, wow, I told you it was a bull trap, here we go back to 10K. And a lot of people will start believing that again, because all it takes is a little bit of fear, a little bit of movement in this market to absolutely cloud a lot of people, especially new people's judgment, and mess with their psychology. But as well, with that being said, I mean, on this 4 hour, we have a nice cluster of support here, right around the $46,000 range, let alone this massive level around the $40,000 range. So again, we don't need to talk about that too much. Bitcoin obviously has some really good support below us. And actually, before we continue with Bitcoin, let's take a look here. So Ethereum has just spent the entire month of August testing right above about 3,000. And failing there. So far, we've had a 21-day bounce there. Obviously, if Bitcoin dips another $10,000 or $8,000, then Ethereum's probably going to breach that, and ADA as well. But with that being said, ADA just rallied. I mean, for example, let's take a peek at this. ADA rallied, what is this, 200% since the lows about exactly a month ago, which is absolutely insane. 200% in the last month. So if ADA would get a little bit of a pullback here, maybe come revisit the $2.10 level, okay, not bad at all. If ADA would do something like that, that is absolutely not bearish whatsoever. That would be perfectly healthy, even, maybe $1.75 at the very lowest wick or something like that, right? The 21-day moving average for ADA is right at exactly about $2. So I have a hard time believing that we would see ADA even, spend a significant amount of time below $2, even with a really big pullback for Bitcoin, $6,000 to $8,000, if this truly is a pullback. Because again, we've been talking about a substantial pullback that we haven't gotten and the possibility of it for a couple of weeks now. And it's just always something you want to keep in the back of your head. It's nothing to panic about. In fact, getting that pullback, the reason that I want it so bad, because people ask, like, why does he want to pull back so bad? The reason I want that so bad is because then that green lights us to go to much higher price levels with a lot less doubt, and really just give us the rocket fuel, right? I mean, if you look at any chart, obviously ups and downs are natural parts, and the higher you go without a pullback, the more experienced you are, the more nervous that should make you that, okay, well, we haven't gotten a pullback in a while. Should we be expecting one? And absolutely yes. You should always be expecting a pullback, right? It sounds dumb. A lot of people repeat it. But, I mean, it really is that simple. And as well, if you take a look on this 6-hour chart, again, we have a lot of support build up underneath us, right around that 46 to 47K level, a pullback. I have a hard time believing that Bitcoin can just absolutely plummet below that, let alone get all the way down to 40K at this point, meaning Bitcoin is in a really good position. And if Bitcoin is able to actually take a pretty decent dump here, then that ultimately makes me more bullish, because again, the trend that we're in is just a bullish trend. We're in a very bullish trend, okay? And that's been proven. Literally the only metric that people were waiting for over the past couple of weeks was like breaking back above the 21 week, which we've done, okay? We've broken back above that. We could even visit all the way down to 43K and we'd still be above, right on that 21 week. And yeah, the 21 day now is all the way up at 46. So again, we have nice support there. Overall, the bigger the pullback, the better, because I think we're very quickly going to be shifting very bullish and breaking 50, 60K and going on to set new all-time highs. I think that's going to be happening pretty quick when it does happen. So the bigger the pullback, the better. We got to let the bears blow their load as much as they can. That way Bitcoin can really just get back on track again, guys, because this is very clearly a bullish trend. And I think a lot of people are aware of that. And we're seeing altcoins do something extremely amazing. If we go to even the entire crypto cap, we're still above 2 trillion right now. So pullback to the 21 day would be a little bit below that, around 1.9 trillion. Still very good. We'd be retesting a lot of this previous resistance that we would, ideally flip into support. But overall, Bitcoin, I personally would love to see this continue for a few more days. I think it would be better for then giving us moon fuel. And obviously, looking at ADA a little bit, it does look like, let's be real, ADA would not be in a bad position if it did get a pullback. And Ethereum, I would say not necessarily. I think Ethereum is in a position where it would be fine if we continued higher here, because Ethereum has consolidated for basically the entire month of August, right around this range at the exact same horizontal level of resistance, around 3.4 to 3.3K. So Ethereum, I don't think necessarily needs a pullback as much as something like ADA and even Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's been a little bit more wild than Ethereum as well. So, a nice pullback for Bitcoin and ADA, I think, would be amazing before they go on to, continue absolutely exploding to the upside. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit like, subscribe, tune in, just to miss these absolutely time-sensitive alerts. If you're interested in APY, any kind of deals or bonuses, make sure to check out the website pinned in the comments and description below. And as well, make sure to get your entries here. There is one that you can earn 2 per day. I might add another one or 2 ways to enter, but for the most part, I'm not going to be adding a bunch of ways to enter for this like I had with the last giveaway. And as well, if you're interested in joining my trading team, check that out. But without any further ado, that's it for me. Bye-bye.